We begin tonight with national news taking us to two violent attacks on people of faith. There's heightened security across New York after a man with a machete targeted a Hanukkah celebration. 5 people were hurt. In Texas, a gunman opened fire inside a church. He killed 2 people before he was shot and killed. The terrifying moments were caught on camera. A warning, the video is disturbing. The man on the left was one of the several people who pulled their guns after the shooter opened fire. Here's Farah Fazal.
Just as church members were passing the collection plate in a Sunday morning service at West Freeway Church of Christ, a man seen in a far corner in a large coat walks out to talk to someone in the aisle and then pulls out a shotgun and begins shooting. He shoots his first victim and then the second. Instantly, an armed security guard responded and shot the gunman while church members began screaming and ducking under pews. Several parishioners were armed and within seconds pulled their guns. But the gunman, who also died, had already killed 2 churchgoers.
Everything is under control.
While children and parents ran, a church leader tried to create calm.
We're here to help people. And to have something like this happen destroys my heart.
Texas Governor Greg Abbott said in a statement, "Places of worship are meant to be sacred, and I am grateful for the church members who acted quickly to take down the shooter." No motive has been given so far. The people in the town of White Settlement reacted as most do after a tragic shooting, crying and looking for comfort. Farah Fazal, CBS News.
Thank you, Farah. In other national news, New York City police arrested a suspect early this morning after a knife-wielding intruder stabbed 5 people in a large group celebrating Hanukkah at a rabbi's home in Monsey, a suburb about 30 miles to the north. CBS News correspondent Laura Podesta has the latest from New York.
I have 3 patients right now down, heavy bleeding. I need multiple ambulances, please, at least 4 to 5.
New York City police arrested Grafton Thomas early Sunday after he drove across the George Washington Bridge. He's the primary suspect in the Saturday night stabbing attack on a gathering of people lighting Hanukkah candles at the home of a rabbi in the largely ultra-Orthodox Jewish suburb of Monsey. 37-year-old Thomas was arraigned Sunday in Rockland County, pleading not guilty to 5 counts of attempted murder and 1 count of burglary. Authorities say Thomas stormed into the house with a large knife.
I asked who was coming in the middle of the night with an umbrella. While I was saying that, he pulled it out from the sink and he started to run into the big room, which was on the left side. And I throw him tables and chairs that he should get out of here.
Governor Andrew Cuomo said New York has seen more than a dozen anti-Semitic incidents since early December.
This is terrorism. It is domestic terrorism.
In a letter Sunday, Orthodox Jewish elected officials urged Cuomo to declare a state of emergency. Jewish communities in and around New York City have been on edge since a deadly shooting rampage at a kosher market in Jersey City earlier this month. After last night's bloodshed, the Hanukkah event continued in a display of strength and faith. Laura Podesta, CBS News, New York.
Bail for Grafton Thomas was set at $5 million, and he remained jailed on Sunday. He is scheduled to be back in court on Friday. And a warning tonight for drivers ahead of New Year's Eve. A nationwide new report reveals Montana and Wyoming lead the nation as the most dangerous states for drunk driving deaths. Several states in the Northeast are among the best, including New York, New Jersey, and Vermont. The report also reveals more than 40% of Americans drink too much on New Year's Eve. Law enforcement says always have a designated driver or simply call a taxi or car service. Turning now to first weather with Rob Griggs. The countdown is on. New Year's Eve is amongst us. And how are we looking coming into the new year?
That is an excellent question. And as we're setting up going into the New Year's celebration, the weather really is cooperating for those of us that just like sunshine and nice warm temperatures. You can see right now the major storm system that's dumped up to 2 feet of snow in places like Fargo, North Dakota. Look at that thing grinding away, now moving over Iowa and South Dakota, continuing to move east, bringing very, very heavy weather to the eastern third of the United States. But as we look in a little bit closer to where we are at, you notice it's kind of calm. A few snow flurries in the northern Rockies of Idaho, diminishing as we speak. And here's what we're looking ahead to for now through the beginning of 2020. Mostly sunny, dry and windy weather, average highs, and then actually warmer than average as we move into the 40s toward New Year's Day. And there will be a chance of showers New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. Will there be enough snow to fire up that brand new shiny lawnmower you got for Christmas? I think I'd be looking for a windbreaker if I were you. We'll have all the details in the complete forecast in just a little bit, Zoe.
Thanks, Rob. Well, with just 2 days left of 2019 and Montanans earning minimum wage will soon be getting a 15-cent raise starting January 1st. Montana's minimum wage will raise by 15 cents to $8.65 per hour at the start of the new year. Minimum wage in Montana will be $1.40 higher than the federal minimum wage of $7.25 per hour. A press release from the governor's office estimated this change will affect 10,200 people in the Montana workforce. In 2018, the industry with the largest number of minimum wage workers was the hospitality and food service industry, followed by retail. And state law requires the Department of Labor to calculate the state minimum wage yearly based on the Consumer Price Index. Well, stay with us. More to come here on the 10 o'clock news. After the break, find out why MSU has a growing appetite for food made with pulse crops. Learn more coming up.
You're watching MTN News with Zoe Zandora, Storm Tracker weather with Rob Griggs, and sports with Casey Conlon. This is the 10 o'clock news on Q2, Montana's news leader. Powered by the Montana Television Network. The 10 o'clock news continues on Q2, Montana's news leader.
As pulse crop farmers continue to face market uncertainties because of ongoing trade disruptions, with key export markets like China and India, growing demand here at home is at least providing some support. And the Montana Ag Network's Russell Nimitz shares students at MSU in Bozeman, and they have a growing appetite for food made with pulse crops.
Every day, Montana State University's culinary services feeds over 10,000 students in campus dining halls like the Rendezvous Dining Pavilion. And during Montana Pulse Day in Bozeman, attendees heard from executive chef Jill Flores about her effort to serve more food on campus made with Montana pulses.
I think it's really important for them to get to see how we are integrating pulses into the food service, and that process that it takes, the quantity, the ordering, the cooking, the delivery. I think it helps give them an idea on their end what they can produce for us or what items we can use in the dining hall in order to collaborate with each other.
For pulse growers like Sam Arntzen from Williston, North Dakota, who also farms in Montana, it's really good to see in person where some of the pulses they raise actually end up.
A lot of times when the stuff leaves the farm, you never know where it's going or what the end product looks like. And it's good to see the young kids, especially rural Montana kids, coming here and they're actually eating what maybe their family grows on the farm. So a lot of it's really, really good. So it's really good to see this.
Executive Chef Flores says they also try hard not to utilize pulses like peas, lentils, and chickpeas in their basic form when preparing recipes and meals.
So you won't just find boiled beans by themselves, but you'll find lentil pizzas and blended lentil burger. And we have several different flavors of hummus. We do several different types of pilafs with blends of lentils with rices and those type of items.
And pulse growers agree that this is just another great example of some of the education being done on their behalf by organizations like the Northern Pulse Growers Association and USA Dry Pea and Lentil Council to increase consumer demand for pulses. In Bozeman, Russell Nimitz, MTN News.
I'm still stuck on the split
baby garbanzo beans.
Gotta try them.
There you go. You can't mess up with that, I guess.
Thank you, Russell. And going into the new year, it looks pretty sunshiny for our future, doesn't it?
That's right. And if you've got a can of middle-aged pudgy garbanzo beans on the shelf, I'd just go ahead and hold on to them for colder weather because it's definitely going to be too warm for something like that. Yeah, the forecast coming up next.
Now, here's your Storm Tracker weather forecast with Rob Griggs.
Yeah, I just got to tell you, whenever the sun is shining on a Sunday afternoon and it looks like Monday might be the same way, well, Monday's my day off, so having a good day, really good day. And we're having a good day across most of the state. We've got a few high clouds out there. You're probably wondering, gee, Rob, what's wrong with the satellite radar? There's nothing going on there. Is it broken? No, it's not broken. It's just nice. It's a little cold, but it's actually not colder than it would be this time of year beyond normal. But it's a little chilly when you look at Havre at 11 degrees right now, Lewistown at 12. We've got the teens and the 20s out there, just single digits for places like Worland, Wyoming, and Glasgow. So yeah, there are a couple of places in the valleys there that are a bit on the cool side, but when you compare it with last night, 24 hours ago, a good 11 degrees cooler in Jordan. You see that swath of colder air as opposed to 24 hours ago, then down there toward Worland, Wyoming, but a little bit warmer in southwestern Montana. Dillon, 11 degrees warmer than it was. And winds right now, really for the most part, strongest out here in the Dakotas, tracking and trailing that storm system that's moving out over Iowa and further away from us. Foot, I say. Away with you now. Just bring me some more sunshine. Is that too much to ask after the fall that we had? I think not. 24 right now, clear skies, southwest winds 13 miles an hour, so it feels like 12 above. No problem. Sun's coming out tomorrow. What do we have to be cranky about? 31 was the high. That's cooler than the average, but not by too much. 16, just a little bit cooler than the average of 17. And no precipitation to report for you in the last 24 hours. I'm thinking probably, unless we pick up some measurable precipitation on New Year's Eve night, we're probably going to finish the score with 19.10 inches. That's still way above average for this time of year. As we see some flurries still falling in the northern Rockies of Idaho and Utah and Nevada, most of Montana and Wyoming in the clear as that big old storm system just dumps a ton of snow in the Dakotas, now moving into Minnesota with strong to severe weather all the way from the deep south into New England. Warmer temperatures meanwhile move in, and as that happens we start to see some wind show up. So we will see gusty winds in the upper Yellowstone Valley. We'll likely see some strong gusty winds up there along the front range of the Rockies. There's already a wind advisory posted for tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow night. And those winds for high profile vehicles in the upper Yellowstone Valley, that could be a 60-mile-an-hour deal. So there's some concerns along the interstates and the roads up toward Harleton. Meanwhile, warmer temperatures will be the main effect. And yeah, there is some weather moving in, but for the time being, it doesn't look like it's going to cross into the Rockies across the front range into eastern Montana anytime soon, other than some scattered showers. Certainly not tonight, certainly not tomorrow. So tonight we're looking for a cold evening, some wind up toward Livingston, and some single digits and teens. That's, again, very close to average for this time of year. We've just been spoiled. Tomorrow we're looking for sunshine, temps rebounding back into the average range of 36 degrees, 38 degrees there for Roundup, 34 for Columbus, and a little bit of wind. Here's that extended forecast. The wind kind of picks up for Billings Monday afternoon in the 15 to 25 mile an hour range. We could see some chill factors down to around 15 below in the areas across our region tonight and early tomorrow morning. 36 for the high Monday, 41 on Tuesday, New Year's Day, 2020. A 40% chance of showers, a high of 46. We stay in those 40-degree readings for the rest of the work week, and for some of us that's a short work week, and then by next weekend we're back into what I would say slightly above average with some sunshine and maybe a shower or two. Zoe?
Thank you, Rob. And as we wrap up 2019, we go over some U.S. numbers. The U.S. nearly lost its measles elimination status, and thousands of people suffered life-threatening lung injuries related to vaping this year. CBS News chief medical correspondent Dr. John LaPook gives us a look at this year's top health stories.
More than 2,400 people were hospitalized with lung injuries in an ongoing outbreak associated with vaping in the U.S. More than 50 people died.
I didn't think it could be that bad, and it really almost killed me.
Federal health officials linked the chemical vitamin E acetate to the outbreak, but say there might be more than one cause. More than 1,200 cases of measles were reported, the largest number since 1992. Most cases were linked to outbreaks in New York.
The outbreaks in New York are being fueled by myths and misinformation that is leading people to not get vaccinated.
2018-2019 flu season was the longest in a decade. Federal health officials say 2 types of viruses surfaced at different times, extending the season. An E. coli outbreak prompted a CDC warning on romaine lettuce from the Salinas, California region.
The E. coli can cause an intestinal illness, prominently diarrhea, but also abdominal cramps and just feeling very, very poorly.
The makers of Zantac recalled the popular heartburn drug. Generic versions were also pulled. The FDA is investigating after tests showed small amounts of a probable carcinogen. With more than 130 people dying every day in the U.S. from opioid overdoses, federal health officials announced more than $1.8 billion in funding to states to fight the crisis. A CDC report showed the HPV vaccine could prevent about 92% of cancers caused by the human papillomavirus, and research published in Pediatrics backed up the vaccine's safety. Dozens of cases of Eastern equine encephalitis, or triple E, were reported, making it the worst season since the CDC began monitoring for the mosquito-borne disease. 15 people died. The FDA approved the first drug for women with postpartum depression. The one-time intravenous treatment requires a 3-night hospital stay.
I noticed a huge difference. Those intrusive thoughts I told you about were gone, and they never came back.
An FDA advisory panel recommended the first treatment for food allergies. Research shows the oral immunotherapy helped 67% of children and teens with severe peanut allergy tolerate the equivalent of about 2 peanuts. And the FDA issued their strongest warning on some popular sleep medications, requiring a black box label on medications including Ambien, Lunesta, and Sonata to alert patients to potentially dangerous behaviors. That's a look at the year's top health stories. Dr. John LaPook, CBS News.
All right, thank you, John. And stay with us. There's more to come on the 10 o'clock news. Here's a preview of the new Under the Big Sky sessions that aired this week, a Bozeman duo that has brought a unique sound to its audience. If you missed the latest Under the Big Sky, you can catch an encore presentation right here on MTN this coming week. The new music-focused Under the Big Sky sessions takes viewers behind the songs and the song makers that make music in Montana. The first episode in the series feature two founding members of the popular Bozeman band, the Clintons. Their acoustic duo, dubbed El Wincho, brings a unique and entertaining sound to audiences. Listen to several songs from the duo and hear stories about how they came to play music together and how their dreams of making music for a living has come true. The encore broadcast aired New Year's Day at noon and Saturday, January 4th at 6:30 p.m. on MTN. And if you can't catch sessions on air, you can watch the entire episode online at underthebigsky.com, as well as a bonus music video. Well, the best sports stories of 2019 continue on the 10 o'clock news. Scott and Casey take us back to just a few weeks ago when Jess Lockwood made history at the PBR in Las Vegas.
Time now for sports with Scott Breen.
Well, welcome back, everybody. We're at number 3 tonight on Q2's countdown of the year's top local sports stories. And again, Casey and I went through and picked out some of our favorites from 2019. Some are resilient, some are feel-good, some are champions. About to meet the guy. That's right, the latest. Our number 3 sports story of the year is all about number 2, as in world titles.
Lockwood just lit up Las Vegas. His brilliance burns even brighter. Compliments of Biker Bob.
Jess Lockwood entered November's 2019 PBR World Finals knowing he had to be just about perfect to catch Jose Vitor Leme in the title race. That's exactly what he was.
You know, we truly are seeing two great bull riders go head-to-head, and Lockwood right now just seems unstoppable.
92 points!
Leme led Lockwood by 749 points entering the finals, but put himself behind the 8-ball early after slapping his bull in round 2. Lemme was left chasing the rest of the finals, knowing the aggregate bonus would likely be impossible to overcome. That was unless Lockwood bucked off, which he didn't until it was too late. Lockwood was the only rider who went 4 for 4 entering Sunday's championship round.
Oh, that's a bull that going into that draft round, I don't think one bull rider in there that didn't want that bull. And you know what he's going to do. He's going to come out of there and he's going to be 100 miles an hour right there to the left. And he was just that tonight and was nice enough to let me stay on top of him.
He opened the final go-round with a 92.25 point ride aboard Rising Sun. That was good for third in the round. Lemme was fourth with 91 points, meaning the Brazilian needed to score 94 3/4 in the championship short go and have Lockwood buck off to catch the Volborg Cowboy. Lemme actually bucked off Lil 2 Train in 4.59 seconds. That handed Lockwood his second title in 3 years. He's the youngest PBR Cowboy to become a 2-time world champion.
Show up and ride bulls again and wanted to try to win a world title. And I didn't do that in 2018, but I did this year. And even missing quite a few events, I was bound and determined, and it worked out, I guess.
The 22-year-old hinted that he didn't know he'd already won the world title after Lemme's buck-off, thought he might have actually lost the race after bucking off Canadian Mist, but his performance to that point earned him the World Finals aggregate title and enough points to pass Lemme in the final world standings. So how about this for Lockwood's roller coaster championship season? He missed 9 events due to a broken collarbone, bounced back to beat Heartbreak Kid not once, but twice in a row. That bull had actually bucked off more than 40 straight riders. Lockwood went on to win the PBR Touring Pro Division title. He won the PBR World Finals event and again became the youngest 2-time world champion ever on the Professional Bull Riders Tour. And on a side note, Columbia Falls Cowboy Matt Triplett turned in his best ever World Finals run. Triplett rode 5 of 6 bulls to finish second at the finals, right behind Lockwood. He ended up 7th for the year. They'll fire up the new PBR season January 3rd, Madison Square Garden in New York City. We're sharing our top 10 local sports stories of the year at montanasports.com. Tomorrow, we reveal the final 2. Let's get back to the news desk.
Thank you so much, Scott. Great year in sports. Yeah. It's been a great year all around. And I just want to say it's been a great year with you. This is our last weekend newscast of 2019.
Yeah. Of the decade. It's
wow.
been a splendid decade.
Yeah,
it
has.
A year
it's been good times. Thank you so much for watching us.
Yeah, I'll get to see you next year.
Yeah, so soon.
All those little corny jokes are starting to eke out, and we've got nice weather.
I was going to say, the weather is looking pretty nice, isn't it, Rob?
We've got some sunshine, warmer than average temperatures, maybe some showers on New Year's. We'll see.
Nice. Yeah. Look at everyone's saying bye.
Yay.
Good night.